I want to tell you about a conversation I have almost every week. This is a typical situation. A female patient sits across from me in the clinic. She's intelligent, she's active, and she takes care of herself. And then she says something that really touches my heart, hurts it. She says, I feel like my body is betraying me. Sometimes she's talking about fatigue, sometimes chronic pain, sometimes it's anxiety, sometimes weight gain, poor sleep, digestive issues. But the sentence is almost always the same. I don't understand why my body is doing this to me. For years, I've approached these conversations the way I've been taught. Find the problem, fix the problem, treat the muscle, treat the joint, treat the hormone, treat the symptom. But after more than 30 years of treating people, I slowly realized something really important. The body wasn't betraying them. The body was adapting. And that realization completely changed the way I practice. Hi, I'm Dr. Jodi Medell. I am a doctor of physical therapy with a focus in integrative and functional medicine. I have 30 years of clinical practice. And I started the Healing Continuum with the Healing Continuum method. This channel just isn't about health. It's a conversation about learning to understand the incredible intelligence of the human body. Each week we explore what symptoms are trying to tell us through the lens of 3 interconnected systems: structure, function, and the nervous system. When I talk about structure, I'm talking more about the musculoskeletal system, the system that moves us around, my typical PT lens. Physiology is that deeper dive, really learning to understand what's going on with our gut, our brain, our metabolism, our ability to take in food and use it usefully, our inflammatory state. Basically, looking at the organ systems and everything that's being produced from that. Functional, dysfunctional, and the nervous system. And the nervous system is really about how we manage within our nervous system. We have sympathetic nervous system, which is our fight or flight. We have parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and digest. Which state are we hanging out in? Which state are we letting operate our everyday to day existence? So it's really looking at that balance within the nervous system. Because the idea here is that healing begins when we stop asking, what do I do to silence this symptom? I was talking about systems earlier. I want to go back into it, so let me repeat that. Healing begins when we stop asking, how do I silence this symptom? And start asking, why is my body even creating it? You gotta know that the body never stops adapting. I've never met a body that wasn't trying to heal, honestly. I've met injured bodies, inflamed bodies, exhausted bodies, bodies living with a lot of trauma, bodies living with autoimmune disease, bodies recovering from surgery, bodies carrying decades of stress. But I've never met one that has truly given up trying. The body is adapting all the time. That's what living systems do. I think about one woman that I worked with. She came to me because of chronic pain. She did everything right, she felt. She stretched, she strengthened, she injected, she massaged, rested, worked harder, done everything she had been told to do, but nothing lasted. As we began looking deeper, taking that deeper dive, we discovered that her body wasn't simply tight. It was protecting. Her pelvis had become unstable after years of compensation. Her nervous system had learned to guard, to protect that. Her muscles were not malfunctioning. They were doing exactly what they believed they needed to do. The question changed from, how do we make these muscles relax, to what is it about the system as to why the muscles no longer feel safe enough to relax? Now that changed quite a bit, almost everything. So what is it if your body is right? I know this may sound a little strange, but what if your body is making the best decision it can based on the information it has? What if inflammation is actually communication, not just pain, dysfunction? What if fatigue is conservation? My body doesn't have enough energy. I'm going to reel it in. I'm going to create fatigue. What if anxiety is protection? If I'm in an anxious state, I'm kind of stuck and I can't really move on. What if pain is an alarm? And what if tension is actually stability? That doesn't mean we want to hang on to these symptoms forever, but what it does mean is that they deserve our curiosity before our criticism. Why is it that we miss this message? Our culture is built around solving problems quickly. You take something. If something hurts you, you take something over the counter or a prescription medication. You suppress whatever that pain dysfunction is. You push through. But the body doesn't speak in words. It does speak in symptoms. Symptoms aren't the enemy. They're actually the language of the body. So I think healing really begins the moment we stop asking, how do I get rid of this? And we actually begin to ask, what is my body trying to tell me? That single question has changed hundreds of conversations I've had with patients. It changes fear into curiosity. Curiosity opens the door to understanding, and understanding opens the door to healing. So today I want to leave you with a thought. The next time your body gives you a symptom, don't immediately assume it's working against you. Pause. Get curious. Ask yourself, if my body could speak, not with symptoms, but with language, with words, what might it be trying to tell me today? Because after more than 3 decades of working with people, I've come to believe something pretty simple. The body is almost always doing the best it can with the resources it has available. The job isn't to fight it. Our job is really to understand it. If this conversation resonated with you, I'd love for you to subscribe. Every week, we'll continue exploring the language of the body through structure, through physiology, through the nervous system, and through the lens of the healing continuum and the healing continuum method. And if you know someone who's convinced their body is turned against them, please share this conversation with them. Because sometimes one new way of seeing the body changes everything. Remember, your body is always communicating. The question isn't whether it's speaking or not. The question really is whether we've learned how to listen. Until next time, take good care of yourself. Bye.